Welcome to Life Insurance Today. I'm your host, Edward Pritchett, and I am excited about this interview today. I have an undercover superhero, and here's how I know he's an undercover superhero. His name is Michael Matthews, right? Like that alliteration thing. Anybody who has the same first name, same start for the last name, you have to be a superhero, right?
I wish I was, but not that good.
Well, I think that you have some amazing things. Guys, here's what's coming up. This guy in his first year as a life insurance agent on his own pen made over $100,000. You want to learn how? Stick around. I hope you are seeing that I really want to make sure that agents have as much information about this industry and how they can help their clients in the best possible way. A passion of mine is the ideal of infinite banking, pioneered by Nelson Nash. Guys, we know that this is a proven way to help people live a more tax-advantaged life using IULs and par whole life. The books out there to help us and our clients understand it are a little bit lacking. What I wanted to do is to be able to create a book that told the story of a family and how they actually use these policies to live a more tax-advantaged life. If you want to check it out, click the link below and take a look at Tax-Free Living. Coming out very soon if it hasn't already come out, depending on when you're watching this, but click the link below and it'll take you right to it. You can read it and it'll help you understand how to talk to your clients about this amazing vehicle that we have in the insurance industry. And I promise you, your clients will be able to appreciate it as well if they use it to understand it a little bit more, so you can have real discussions about how to get them started living a more tax-advantaged life. All right, back to the show. All right, so I'm here with the Michael Matthews. I want to start this off because your story, your journey as an independent life insurance agent, there's a couple different ways you can start off as an insurance agent. You can be captive, you can be independent. You chose the independent route, but it started at the tender age of 22, which, man, what I would give to be able to go back to my 22-year-old self and say, hey, go sell some life insurance. But let's start there. Like we just told him, in your first year, and you were 22 when you started, correct?
Yep.
And in your first year, what month did you start that year?
Yeah, so I started in July of 2021. That's when I officially got going.
July of 2021, and between July of 2021 and December 31st, 2021, not having a license before, we'll hear about like where you were college-wise here in just a second, but you made $100,000 in income?
Yeah, well, actually, in that first 6 months, like coming into the business, you guys, like my first 6 months in the business was honestly really tough, not because of the insurance, but after that 6 months, 2022, that's when I made my first 100,000.
Okay, so the first 6 months was struggle.
Oh yeah.
Why am I doing this? And then 2022, you came into January, and thanks for clarifying that.
Yep.
Because we're just giving to you guys like this is what's happening for people in this industry. 2022, you get started. That full year, that's the year you made $100,000.
Yep.
Over $100,000.
Yep.
And then you started to build an agency towards the end of that year, and you made even more in 2023.
Correct,
and
yeah.
now we're here in 2024. So, all right, I'm excited. If you want to know like what did he do to make this happen, you may want to stick around and probably get out a pen and paper and take some notes. Okay, so let's start off. Give them some background. You're 22 years old. Walk us through the lead up to COVID and then you going into the insurance industry in 2021.
Yeah. So I started college in 2016. The fall of 2016 was my freshman year of college. Went to go to school to play basketball, but I had to get a lung operation. So I had to get lung surgery. I had a really bad case of pneumonia, ate away at some of my lungs. They kind of had to cut all that stuff out. So it prevented me from playing basketball that year. And I ended up getting another opportunity to play basketball in 2017. So went back to school, literally 2-3 games in the season, I ended up breaking my arm. So breaking my arm a couple games into the season, I went out and got a job as a mail carrier. So I was a mailman. And that was actually during the time, like, I'm so happy that happened, because if that wouldn't have happened, like, I wouldn't have known that I wanted and needed to be a business owner. because of just that environment and just the culture. Like
Having that W-2 position
Yeah.
made the ideal of, I don't know if I could do that for the next
Right.
30, 40 years.
You're right, especially because everybody around me at the time, they're like, man, like that's such a great job. Like it's a government job, you get a pension, you get all these benefits. I'm like, man, I'm making $1,500 every 2 weeks. Now I'm like 18, 19, so I'm like, that's more money than I ever made at the time. But I was showing up every day. I was working harder than everybody. I would finish my route, then have to go help 2, 3 other people on their route. And I was just tired of just not getting paid by like just kind of what I knew I was worth. So I was like, there has to be more out there. If this is a great career, like that, this can't be life. Like we talk about the American dream, that can't be it. So ended up going back to school 2019, and obviously COVID happened in the fall or spring of 2020, and took that next year off just because of everything was pretty much shut down with COVID. We all experienced it, no matter what you were doing.
That interruption in your renewed collegiate path, and you have this interruption, then you find out. How did you find out about insurance? Like, how did you come across? Like, were you looking for another job? You're like, look, I'm not gonna do the postal service, but I do need to find something to make some money.
Yeah.
Like, what had you looking, and why were you looking at insurance specifically? Or?
Oh no, no. Like I wasn't even looking for a job for me. Like I was looking for a job for my now fiance. She was working at Target at the time, and like I said, I was going back to school in the fall of 2021. Had the opportunity lined up, and she was tired of working there. I was like, I'm not doing nothing but playing basketball all day. I was like, I can look for a job for you. So I ended up scrolling through Indeed, and there was a job ad that said 75 to 300K. But the thing that popped out to me was, yes, the number. I was like, why is this on Indeed? Like, what is this? But the thing that stuck out to me when I clicked on it, it talked about insurance. That didn't even stick out to me because I knew nothing about insurance. The thing that stuck out to me was talked about like, hey, we will teach you and show you how to grow and scale a business. And I was like, that's my foot in the door. Because I like I said, when I worked at the post office, I knew I wanted to own a business.
Gotcha.
I just didn't know what direction that would go into.
Gotcha. Or how to do that.
Correct,
You were
yeah.
looking for someone to teach you.
Correct,
You were open to that. All right. So you get into the insurance industry because you saw this job ad that you were looking for your now fiance, and you're like, well, maybe I could do this.
Yeah.
I want to be a business owner. You sit for your license. You get licensed. You get started, and what happens in that? Like you said, July 2021.
Yeah.
That's not where the Maddie didn't really happen until 2022. Yeah. So you had the wherewithal to stick through, right? What happened?
Yeah, that first 6 months in the business was honestly. Let me rephrase it. The first 4 months in the business wasn't tough because I didn't treat this seriously enough to even consider it tough.
Okay.
I treated it like a hobby.
So I think that's a good point. I'm gonna pause you for a second. Make sure you're actually working before you start complaining that it's not working for you.
Right. Yeah.
So you said the first 4 months, you're just kind of like, I got this license, I signed up, I have a contract. Let me play some basketball, and in between shots, I'll make dials.
Correct.
Something like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. Like I was told, hey, you get to set your own schedule. Hey, you get to go out there and make what you want. Like, hey, we're gonna provide all the resources, the tools, the training support, but you got to carry your half of the bricks and actually go out there and put the work in.
Gotcha.
And honestly, I think that's probably one of the hardest things for most people coming into the industry is just to lead themselves and have that discipline to see it through every day. But when the business got tough was in November and December of 2021. Okay. Because those were the months where I actually committed. Because I was looking around, I'm like, man, to put it in perspective, I did like 15K in submit. So income-wise, I probably brought in like 5, 6K because all of it didn't even get approved. Okay. So didn't really make a ton of money, but I was looking around like people who came in after me, people who came in the same time as me, they were hitting their promotions, they were always on the leaderboard. I'm like, what are they doing that I'm not? And it took a while because in October, I started throwing stuff at the wall. I'm like, oh, they must have a better script or they must be working better leads. So I'm like, that's what I'm gonna do.
So just change up anything to see if something. Were you counseling and getting mentorship during that time?
I was, but I wasn't coachable though, because they would advise me on things, but I'm like, yeah, I hear you, but it's so easy to get distracted on. They must have the magic leads. They must have the trust me, I'm trying.
Magic leads,
right?
Whenever someone finds those, please give me a call. I'm looking forward to it.
Let me know. I want to know too. But so they were trying, but I just wasn't open to it. And then it wasn't until like I just kind of took a bite of that humble pie in November, I was like, man, I'm the problem. Like it's like I'm the problem. So that's when I committed just to the IMO I'm at. I committed to just everything I was capable of, and I started like actually going through my learning curve, and was like, hey, I'm gonna take this seriously. So like I came into the business with $200 to my name. Didn't have a job, like I said, I was going to school, so had nothing. This was it. And I went out there and I did Uber, just kind of be able to make the money I need to invest into leads properly and to make sure I had the proper leads. So I just put the work in week after week. Like the first week, it was learning how to overcome objections. Second week was I'm booking appointments, but nobody's showing up. Now it's, all right, now I need to work on my lockdown and then just progress from there. And that's what that 60 days of November and December was. And then January just clicked. I ended up doing 16K that month. And then I finished the year at 280 and submit.
Well, here's the takeaway I want, if you're taking notes, and hopefully you are, because this is so good. One change at a time.
Yeah, that is it.
I see people just like, well, I just got to get a whole new script. If you're tracking what you're doing and you make that one change at a time and you see like, did that improve or reduce the results that I'm trying to get? If it improved it, let's keep doing that. And now what else can I change, right? But having that activity, deciding that you're going to be coachable, and you step into January, and so it was 2 months, and I kind of like that idea. Like you hear about the whole idea about creating a habit, right? What is it, like 27 days?
Yeah, something like that.
To create a habit. But like, what would it take to just put in enough time of something new so that you can actually see a gain, like start getting the positive results that you're looking for, and then you hit January and you said it just clicked. What did it feel like? How did you know that, or like did you know? Like whenever you stepped into January, we know the end results. $16,000 worth of premium written, strong closing, or like it most of it issued. Right.
I issued 14 actually that month.
You issued 14,000 that month. What kind of contract were you on at that time? 590.
It was because then it was 75. I was at 75.
You were on a 75% contract. Okay. So, but that's still, you get 14,000 placed, 75% contract. When you're talking about $10,000, $11,000 coming in, how much did you spend on leads and marketing, if you remember? Just
no. I definitely, it's hard not to remember that time. Like
I love that you're like and that's something you got to take away. Like, your numbers. I love that, because like that's what it takes. If you want to improve your numbers, you have to 100%. Know what you're trying to improve. If you don't know what your numbers were, forget about it.
Yeah, because the numbers show you like where you have to grow. That's where all the opportunities are. And if you're not looking at your numbers, then again, you feel like you have to change everything. Like that month of October, I was like, man, I have to change everything because nothing's working. But it's a lot of times you don't have to change everything. It's just that one thing. Like, what is that one thing in your process that you can focus on today, focus on this week, overcome it, so next week you can focus on a different thing. But if you try to do everything at once, you're just gonna fall on your face, because the business can be overwhelming in that sense of going many different directions. But for me then, I was spending $300 a week. $300 a week in leads, and like you said, like, did I know it was gonna click? I was actually put in a position where I didn't have a choice but for it to click. Because during those, at the end of that 60 days, like right before Christmas, my car ended up breaking down. Like I said, I was doing Uber. That was my only source of income. And I was back with $200 in my bank account. I can use that money to either get the car fixed, or I can use that money to go out there and get leads. And
what choice would you make?
Right. And it's honestly a tough choice, because everybody has their own circumstances. But the way my mind worked, and mind you, during that time, because like, thank God for my fiance, because she held down her half of everything, and for me, I wasn't holding down my part and making sure I was paying my part of the rent, like paying my other part of the bills. But we were 3 months behind on rent at the time. So when I was looking at the choice to make, I was like, man, I can either fix my car and go back to doing Uber and be stuck in the same position as I was already in, or I can get this standing lead order where if I'm able to protect the family, I'm gonna have enough money to come in to fix the car, pay the rent, get caught back up. So that's what just happened. That first week of January, my standing lead order came in, and I was like, this is it. Like, so
it has to happen.
It had to happen. And thankfully I was putting the work in. Like, I was doing all the right things long enough before that to where the opportunity just met
So
itself.
good. So good. And I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back to my superhero analogy. That's a superhero story, guys. Right? Like has to make a definitive choice. He's going out to protect families. He makes the right choice, and I'm sorry. We got a movie trailer coming up
Hey.
soon. um, so I think they hopefully they're able to take from kind of this progression that you went through, and it's just so cool. And just as a reminder, you're 22 years old, getting ready to turn 23 years old during this particular time frame. You know, you have the ability to go out and you got your associate's degree,
Yep.
but you made the choice not to go back to college at
Correct.
that point in time.
Yep.
After COVID, you started selling insurance. Um, the opportunities that are out there right now, like for someone, you're 24 now or
I'm 25 now.
25 now. How many opportunities are there out there for a 24, 25-year-old to legitimately,
Yeah.
just by putting in the right work, by putting in the effort necessary, can you, within a year, like literally, you're talking about like you started in July, and yes, the first the thing is most people would give up in those first 6 months
Yeah.
and would have quit.
Yep.
You didn't. You started getting better in October, November, December, and that way you were able to have your January. And you have a six-figure income now that has only increased. So you made $100,000 in 2022.
Correct.
You started actually building and growing an agency in 2023. What was the gross revenue for the organization? So this is your personal production and your agency in 2023.
So 2023, the agency, like APV wise.
No, your income, like
Okay.
APV, like that could vary.
Yeah.
I don't. We're doing this in the sense where it doesn't matter what IMO you're with. Like
Yep.
these are principles that you can use wherever you are.
Yep.
So I don't want to get into like that. Like what did Uncle Sam say? Hey, I'm gonna charge you taxes on this dollar amount.
Yeah. So total was actually about 210.
210. So you went from 100,000. I'm gonna go ahead and call it your first year.
Yeah.
Like your first full year. Like you had 6 months before, but that was your getting ready time.
Yep.
Which everybody needs some getting ready time. If you haven't actually taken it and done the work during your getting ready time, maybe that's why you're not getting what you're wanting to get. You did that. Your first year, over 100,000. Your second year, so you doubled your income in 1 year.
Yeah. Which is honest is even now, like even going into this year, 2024, to still know like I'm still just getting going in the business.
So I mean, you're 25. You have, like, if you just take a 65-year-old retirement age, you have 40 good years. Someone do the math on this. You have 40 years left. If you, like, let's not even double that, but like if you do like 1.5x your income year after year, like where are you going to be at 65? And we don't have to answer that. Like, obviously, we all know when you think, like, the math on that is just stupid.
Yeah.
But in this industry, the crazy thing is like it's possible.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy that we're in a $1 trillion industry. That's over $1 trillion a year goes from Americans to life insurance carriers every year right now. It's done that for the last 3 years. I just found this out here recently. The estimated assets under the control of U.S. life insurance carriers just crossed the $10 trillion threshold.
Jeez.
And that's just an estimate because they can't
Track
really
it,
like, how do you like at a certain point in time, you're just like, well, like, this is close. We'll round up or we'll round down here. So like this is the industry that we have. What do you foresee for yourself, as you continue to build your agency? You're a solid 2 years now into building your agency. What do you see happening with this industry for you, for what your life is going to now be like versus what you may have been thinking about when you were working at the U.S. Postal Service?
Yeah. Like my life, like, I'll probably say just like without getting into it, like I understand, like when I came in and I was able to see everybody around me, like in just the lifestyle they were living, like those were some of the things that I always craved for, like when I was a kid, because I didn't have that. And one of the things was time. One of the things was be able to be there for your family and to show up to sporting events. But more importantly, I want to make sure, like, as this continues, I'm putting myself in a position where I don't have to say no to anything. Like, I don't have to say no. Like, eventually, I don't have any kids yet, but eventually, when me and my fiance do start building a family, like, if they want to be in some type of sports or some type of dance, like, hey, no, I can't do that because I don't have the time to bring you. I don't have the time to bring you, or hey, I don't have the finances to do that. Like, I want to put myself and my family in a position where we get to say no to things and we actually have that choice. Because growing up, my family didn't have that choice. They only had one choice. It was I can't, or no, we can't do that. So now I want to be able to change that narrative just moving forward, especially as I build this business, not just to make sure my finances are straight, but make sure I have plenty of time to actually enjoy life as well.
I love that because it's not the actual statement that some of our parents, mine included,
Mhm.
were saying when they said no, we can't do that is no, we don't have the money to do that.
Yep.
Right? And you want to be able to replace that to where like you still may say no.
Right.
Like I say no to my kids quite a lot. Like it's okay to say no from time to time. Like, nah, we're not doing gymnastics, jazz dance, basketball, volleyball, swim. No, we're not doing all of them. You got to choose. Like you can do whatever you want, but we got to choose.
Yep.
But to it's about choice.
Yep.
Like that's what earning an income. That's what being able to build a legacy business like we can build in the insurance industry really allows us to do is to have that choice back where you get to be the arbiter of your life. So, you know, I'm going to challenge everyone who's watching. Like, one, he's laid out a whole bunch of steps. I'm going to give him one last chance to give you a little bit more clarity. But are you being an arbiter of your life? Are you making decisions for yourself? Are you doing what Michael did, where you're willing to invest the time that you need to in order to get good enough to go out and make a decision that yields a result? 6 months it took him to get to that point. Maybe you're already in your 6 months. And you're like, well, when's that gonna happen? Well, maybe 6 months, but first 3 months, 4 months didn't
Yep.
count. It was that October, November, December. When are you gonna make that decision to really say, I'm gonna go ahead and get it now so that I can make a choice for myself. I can make a choice for my family to be the determiner of what we get to say yes or no to. So as we close out, I wanted to give you the opportunity to give them just that one piece of advice. I always ask this. I know I'm really big on kind of that one thing,
Yep.
a guiding principle. Like if you can look back on your extensive life insurance career of 3.5 years, um, but massively successful, which I love that about this industry.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking about like guys making over $250,000 a year now after 3 years. It's crazy. What an industry. To that new agent or that agent that just needs a reset, from your experience, what you went through to get to that point that you did where you decided and you achieved, what's one piece of advice that you could say, like, if you do this, you can too?
Yeah. I would say that one piece of advice would be there's so many things I could probably say, but if I was to lock in on that one thing that really changed just kind of my trajectory, what it was starting to be intentional about every step, but it started with just reflection. Like you got to reflect on yourself on just what put you in the position that you are right now. What led up to that? What actions, what inactions got you to the point where you're like, man, this is not going how I thought it was going to go. This is not going according to what my IMO told me or what my mentor told me. So you got to reflect on the things that you can control and the things that you either did or didn't do, and start saying and like, hey, this is where I'm trying to go, and this is the first step I need to take. Because this business, if you could just put one foot in front of the other, get 1% better every day, then I promise you it will get you to the point where you're trying to go. But it doesn't start until you understand where you're at right now and what got you to that point. So if I had to say the one thing, then that'll probably be it.
I love it. Know where you are and plan out intentionally that next
Intentional,
step.
yes, it has to be intentional. Can't be randomly.
Love it. Anyway, if they want to follow you, get more information about you, I know we got some, I think that they're down there somewhere. We got some links and all that stuff in there. But anywhere that you want to point them to, website, anything like that?
Yep. So you guys can follow us on LinkedIn at M3 Life Group, as well as just my own Instagram page. michael.m.matthews on there as well. So those are 2 places for now.
All right. Told you, Michael Matthews, superhero, undercover. We'll find out his true identity or who he, and I don't think there's an insurance man, so I guess we could.
Hey, we'll figure it out.
Anyway, motion picture deal underworks. We'll get back to you on that. Thank you for joining us here on Life Insurance today. Michael, thank you for being on and sharing. Continued success, man. I'm personally proud of you, not in a weird kind of way, but just like, man, it's just good to see people coming in here and doing what you're doing. Like that's what I love about this industry, that can happen. If you liked what Michael had to say, share some comments below, like this, share this with somebody else. If you know that, are you Gen Alpha, Gen Z?
What am I?
Whatever generation that's not my generation, because I know he's not in my generation. If you know someone in that generation, share this story with them. Let them know like there is hope. There are some ways out there that they can get what they want out of life. And show your appreciation. Show some love for Michael in the comments. Make sure you like and follow him on LinkedIn. And again, just thank you so much. I'm Everett Pritchett, Life Insurance Today. We'll see you next time.